right, so let's talk about Halloween. So Halloween is believed to have originated from the ancient Celtic festival of Saa-win, celebrated on November 1st. The Celts believed that on October 31st, the boundary between the living and the dead became blurred, so they would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off evil spirits. It was not long before minority communities embraced the festivities, perhaps out of the need for self-expression, or maybe because it also allowed a certain amount of anonymity, you know? So in 1912, anyone who wore more than 3 articles of clothing worn by the opposite sex could be arrested. All right. But this did not stop those celebrating Halloween, of course. And in fact, it was so popular to experiment with gender roles during Halloween that the police were so inundated with reports of cross-dressing that they gave up arresting people altogether. So minority influence, you know, one historical event that helped change the way people celebrate Halloween was the Great Migration. It was a time when African Americans migrated from the South, mostly to large urban centers to escape segregation and racism. In New York City, the Harlem Renaissance reconnected African Americans who were LGBT. One of the first known drag queens, William Dorsey Swann, born into slavery, led the way in showcasing drag and drag balls at historic venues. Historian George Chauncey says that the queer gatherings in Harlem enhanced the solidarity of the LGBT world and symbolized the continuing centrality of gender inversion to gay culture. The trend of elaborate celebrations on Halloween took off in the 1920s because of movements like the Harlem Renaissance. It opened the door for people to be empowered to explore their own drag. These celebrations later were known as Gay Christmas, which stems from an earlier reference to Halloween called Bitches Christmas, which just totally makes sense, right? So you heard me right, Bitches Christmas. Philadelphia's LGBT community was known to celebrate Bitches Christmas by dressing up in drag and partying in the 50s, 60s, even the 60s. In the 1980s, there were so many drag queen performances in New York City that everyone followed them from bar to bar, leading to some of the country's first queer Halloween parades. In 1969, Stonewall empowered the LGBTQ plus community to come out of the shadows. Halloween, the street parties grew from 160 people in 1974 to over 200,000 people only 5 years later. These street parties led the way for other communities to embrace the spirit of self-expression and celebration. And today, Halloween is widely embraced by the LGBTQ plus community. You will find thousands of drag queens, goblins, and ghosts on the street and packed into bars. Wicked Manners comes alive on Halloween. The annual event is crazy and amazing with families and queers alike. You can also head over to Chelsea in the Village for a huge party, or Washington, D.C. for the high-heeled drag queen race, which thousands attend. So go enjoy Halloween, Gay Christmas, whatever you want to call it. It is our time to party. What are we all talking about? What do you think about the history?
Oh, it really is Gay Christmas. It's listen, I didn't know the entire history of Halloween like that. So for me, I'm like, right now, just us sitting in bed with Luna in drag, we would be arrested. If they walked in on this episode right now, they'd be like, you get in the car, let's go.
Yep.
But it's incredible, right? So that saying, when people say, I ran so you could walk, right? That's kind of what I think about, because even though as our generation faces a lot of issues and we've got people against us just because we're queer, there are so many more who came before us who paved the way, who went through more struggles, right? Who weren't able to live their fullest lives because of the restrictions against them, which was ultimately a product of where we are at now, right? So it really is. It's like we need to think about the Halloween like this Halloween holiday more like that, in a way where we celebrate those who came before us and who made it as fun as it is for us now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to think about, like, you know, hearing you speak. It's like, you know, in those days, if I wore a tie, you know, or if I wore a blazer, that was incorrect, and you can be arrested for that. You know, like.
The gender roles had to be so specific and assigned.
Specific, you know, and people just not being able to be their true authentic selves. And, you know, back like during Stonewall times, right? If you were caught at a bar and they would arrest you for, you know, being gay or for, you know, men on men or cross-dressing or whatever it was, the next day they would put your name in the paper. Okay, so your job would find out. So you would get.
It was almost like you were a sex offender, pedophile, or something. They would paint you out to be something negative.
And people weren't out to their families, so people would be outed like that horribly, in the freaking local paper. That is how things were.
No work again. They would never be. They would not have anything to jump back into because they would just have that issue of the paper held against them for the rest of their lives.
And that's. I mean, and my wife, my wife, the Cuban, she's a huge pessimist, and she keeps every day I hear her screaming at the TV, "We're going backwards."
She's not wrong.
We're going backwards.
She's not wrong. My husband is similar, but it sometimes does feel like every big step we take a few more back, right? Which is not fun.
It's not.
But
it's not. But we're resilient.
We
keep
are
fighting,
resilient.
and we enjoy our Halloween, and it's. It's that time of year where you get to be a hoe if you want to, or maybe a housewife, whatever your dreams are.
Yeah, I'm a hoe for the whole year. So it's like for Halloween, I pretend to be like a little bit
docile and like covered up and everything. You don't even notice who Eric is.
Yeah,
like from head to toe.
Covered up,
totally.
Just like this. We're actually going out after this episode in these outfits.
And we're going to go out like this.
Yep, the night before Halloween, honey.
Watch out, Wilton Drive.
Bam.
Because we're coming like
Wicked
this.
Manners right here.
Buzz,
Wicked Manners. Let's go.
Buzz,
bitches, Halloween.
BBB. Buzz, bitches.
Exactly.
So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did. So make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the Faye What Show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ plus media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the Faye What Show. Get the week started with me.